Hey guys, George here. Wanted to highlight some of the features of the new Athearn P42 with sound in Tsunami2. Want to make sure you guys saw some of the features. Now, of course, there's always going to be the lights. So when you turn on the function 5, you're going to see both ditch lights turn on. And then, of course, when you blow the horn, you're going to see them alternate and flash. Now, I don't know if you know this, but function 6 will turn on the red tail marker lights. Now, of course, this locomotive is facing forward, so they're not going to be on, but when we change direction, you're going to notice the headlight extinguish. Let's turn off the ditch lights really quickly. Now, when I change direction, you're going to notice the headlight extinguish, and then you can see those red marker lights come on. Now, that's just one of the cool features that we have in the Tsunami2, that you can have those red tail markers on the end pushing of the train. Now, you can set these up to be directional or completely independent control. It's entirely up to you with our FlexMap function mapping. Now, one of the really cool things I wanted to point out is with the Tsunami2, function 16 turns on what's called head-end power. And head-end power basically takes the diesel engine generator and turns it into head-end power, electrical energy, to power the passenger train behind. So when we turn on function 16, you'll hear that alarm bell as the HEP mode is about to kick in. And then you're going to hear the prime mover start notching up. Now, one of the unique features about HEP when it comes to our P42s is that GE managed to make sure that the head-end power only needed to go up to about notch 6. So with our Tsunami2, they go to notch 6. Now, what's a really cool feature is it will stay in notch 6 regardless of speed. So when I start moving again in the forward direction, you're not hearing any change. Now, one of the really cool features of the Tsunami2 is the dynamic digital exhaust. And dynamic digital exhaust will take the load on the motor and use that in the processor to adjust the sound effects. So when the locomotive needs more power, simulating the engineer grabbing a little bit more throttle, you'll actually hear the diesel engine notch up. Now, in this case, head-end power goes to notch 6. So if the diesel engine needs a little bit more power above notch 6, it'll notch up as needed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run the locomotive at about speed step 5. And you're not hearing really any change, but when I put my hand on it, you hear that prime mover get louder, and now you're hearing it notch up. Now I'm going to pull it back a little bit. Now when I release, you hear that prime mover back off, and going back down to notch 6. And again, it will stay in notch 6 as long as function 16 is enabled. When I turn off function 16, you hear that prime mover is dropping down as it returns to idle. Now, when you have a single locomotive and pulling a train, you're actually going to have the head-end power on the lead unit. But if you have multiple units, the second unit is always going to have the head-end power. And the reason is because, of course, as you can imagine, with the diesel engine running away at notch 6, it's loud and it shakes the locomotive quite a bit. So this is why the engineers would then put it in second unit in the consist, so that they can get out and walk to the second unit if they need to address something, but it's not in their lead unit. So there's a lot of other features that Athearn has put into the P42, including the default settings for the equalizer. So the 7-band equalizer is enabled in this. So when I take CV225, I'm going to set it to a value of 0 to disable the equalizer. Listen to how that prime mover changes and you lose some of that mid-range low frequency. So Athearn has really worked on this model because they want to make sure to bring you the best. And with using Tsunami2, you have the most amount of features built into it. So now we're going to take CV225, set it back to a value of 7. Now you can really hear that mid-range and low end come back in. So guys, this is just a very brief look at this new and exciting model and release from Athearn Trains. So be sure to check it out. Get your Tsunami2 equipped model now. And if you run out, or if your store runs out of sound equipped models, the Tsunami2 will plug right into the 21-pin socket inside the model. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.